Hi, I'm Lee at Iridium, and yet again, I've got my mate, Mark Cloer. How you doing, mate?
Good, brother. How are you?
Yeah, good. So, been talking about doing this for a while now, and it's taken quite a bit of research to do, actually. It's not an easy one to do. We're looking at great album openers, so real good openers to albums. But also on the flip side, we're looking at some bad ones. So let me just explain. We're not really talking sometimes bad tracks, but it could be a bad opener, for instance, like, you know, it felt wrong on the album. It could literally be a bad track as well, but we're looking at bad openers as well. And to tell you the truth, because obviously we're just covering rock and metal and the bands we love. So we've got a big fuck off list of goods. And I believe we've both got only a few bads because, you know, we love these bands, don't we? So occasionally they make a little bit of a slip up. Maybe they could have changed the track listing round and put something else as the first song. Or it is just literally we don't like the song. We don't know each other's lists, obviously, as always. So we could clash on this. And if we do, we just scrub it off our list. How's that sound, mate?
I'm good.
Okay, well, there's a lot to get through, but we might just let the viewers know this could be in two parts. Not really sure yet how long it's going to take, but you know, you'll know by the title of the video. We're looking at good openers, and we're going to mention the bad one. If we've got the same band, we'll mention the bad one straight after. All right for you, mate?
Yep, works for me.
Okay. I've done this the same as I'm basically going to go top and bottom. So this is no order again for me. There's no like ranking or anything like that. These are just the list. But I'm going to choose from the top, then choose to the bottom, and it should, the years basically are the same. It sort of ends up going up and down until I meet in the middle. Okay, then, mate.
Why don't you lead us off?
Yep. That's it, mate. That's definitely. So do you want me to go first this time, or are you going to go first? Oh, cool. All right, okay. So it's funny because I got a lot of this information ready when I was doing my great debut albums. So you'll find a lot of stuff here that would be on that great debut. So my first one is Boys Are Gonna Rock, Vinnie Vincent. Man, just a way to like, this is me, this is how good I am on the guitar, this is how good my singer is, like exploded out of the speakers. Great video as well on this one, but just blew me away, this song, man. Just absolutely blew me away. Boys Are Gonna Rock. Love it. Absolutely love the song. Full of energy. Great song. There you go. That's my first great opener.
Yeah, that set the tone for what he was, the statement he was trying to make on that album.
Yeah.
I think it was a middle finger to Gene and Paul.
Yeah.
Saying, you know, you don't know what you lost. This is what you could have had on the Kiss album. And, you know.
Oh, man, how long was that going on for? That, you know, the beginning, the guitar intro, obviously, he goes, wow, 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 until he went into his lead, man. It's just like, this is just amazing. It was like a real, like you said, right, this is it. It's a Kiss. I'm just going to blow you away with this. And it was fantastic. What a great start to a great album. There you go, mate. That's my first.
Such a shame that he hasn't gotten his shit together and got back out there. He's young enough where he should still have something to give if he can just get his act together and get out there. But don't know if it'll ever happen or not.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. Okay.
All right. First one I'm going to pick, I think you'll appreciate this one. From the Rat, Invasion of Your Privacy, You're in Love. You did a show a while back, albums that impacted your life. That album definitely was one of the most important of my mid-teens.
Yeah.
I loved Rat at that point in their career. And there's not a bad song on that album.
That's a great album, man.
It's one of those albums I can put in now, and I feel like I'm 16, 17 again.
Yeah.
Never gets old.
Without that, man. Love that album.
Pick that album off.
My favourite album, man.
Yeah.
Rat. Absolutely amazing. I remember buying that album. I went to London. I bought the album in, I think it was Virgin Megastore, like when we used to have record shops, obviously. And I remember picking that up and it never left me stereo, man.
And have you ever seen a hotter chick in your life? The chick on that cover.
I mean, you can't get better than little ankle white, like little white socks, can you, man? It's just like, what? They did know how to put a nice chick on the covers, man. There's no doubt about that. Okay. Right, mate. This is one that I mentioned in our debuts again. Obviously, Boston, More Than a Feeling. I mean, man, it could be one of the greatest openers of all time, couldn't it?
Definitely.
You know, so there's been so much said about the track. You know, everyone knows it. Well, they should do, unless they've been living under a rock for the last, 50 years or whatever. But man, what a great track! More Than a Feeling, feel good song, as much as you can get. It's feel good song. Great vocals by Brad Delp, and just an amazing start, an amazing band. What a great opener! Couldn't have been better, mate.
Absolutely timeless.
Yep, sure is. Oh, so sorry. I've got my first bad opener.
Okay.
And this isn't a bad song. I actually like the song. I just can't understand why it's an opening track. And that's off their third stage album, Amanda.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, man.
Yeah, why do you open with a ballad? Yeah.
Call the Engines came, like one of the next songs, or when they had the launch and then Call the Engines. Why not do the launch and then Call the Engines?
Yeah.
Amanda.
Yeah.
Well, it just doesn't make any sense. I do like the song, by the way. It never made any sense to me, that song at the beginning. But that's Boston for you, isn't it? There you go.
Yeah, I agree with that
one. Okay, then, mate.
Okay, my next one's going to be Loudness from the Thunder in the East album, Crazy Nights. Loudness. Well, I mean, I've got the shirt on. Obviously, I've talked about them in the past. They're one of my all-time favorite bands. Akira Takasaki is just a god on guitar. I bought Thunder in the East when it came out, just kind of on a whim. I saw the poster in the record store, and it had a picture of the band, and I was like, Japanese heavy metal guys. This, what is this all about? So I bought it just, taking a chance, and man, I'm glad I did. The first song on the album is Crazy Nights. That's by far their biggest hit, if you want to call it a hit, their most well-known song. What a way to kick off an album. And from that opening riff, they had a fan for life in me. And I've followed them ever since. And that album, I think, it was their first American or their first English language album. They had several Japanese albums before that. So they were trying to break into the international market, and I think this album was a brilliant album. Not a bad song on it. Unfortunately, they never hit it big. People wouldn't give them a chance because of I guess because they were Japanese. And it just seemed like an odd pairing with Japanese and heavy metal, but man, some of the biggest heavy metal fans are in Japan. When heavy metal died over here, it was still huge in Japan.
Oh yeah. Some bands have only made it there, haven't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Mental, absolutely amazing. Good choice, mate. Okay, the next one might be a bit more obvious, and this was actually, I did choose this one when I got my list together, and then literally a couple of hours later, one of the subscribers said this is a great opening track, because I asked people to come and join us and see if they'd do this. Ended up with no, it's fine with me and you, but one person mentioned this song, and that's Hell's Bells off Back in Black.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, obviously, look, after my AC/DC for me, the best era for me will always be Bon Scott. I love Bon Scott, man. I just think he was great, but Brian Johnson on that album was amazing.
Yeah.
You can't get it better than a bell ringing either, can you? And then the start. That's just what an amazing opening track. Perfect for that Back in Black, and huge album. Obviously, I think the biggest album of their career.
Yeah.
And what a great track. It's not even fast, it's plodding, but it's such a great track, man. That's my number. Well, not my number. It's just my next choice.
Yeah, that's one of them. Again, anytime you turn the radio on, you're very apt to hear that song. It's just it holds up so well. I mean, I got to admit, I'm a little played out on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, great song. Great song.
Definitely, mate. Okay.
All right. I'm probably stealing one of yours here. Rage for Order.
Yes, you have. What a track.
Walk in the Shadows.
Oh.
My all-time favorite Queen's Reich song.
Oh, is it? Oh, nice.
Yeah. I think I had heard of them prior, but my first exposure to them, they opened for Ozzy in '86 on the Ultimate Sin tour. And man, they were a hard act to follow. They were so different. You know, we talk about Jeff Tate's voice. He just reached heights back then that, you know, very few could reach. Mm. It just took the music to a whole new dimension. And that twin guitar interplay between Michael Wilton and Chris DeGarmo, they were one of the best guitar duos, I think.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely.
Yeah, that song.
I love that song.
They've never topped that song for me. They've got a lot of great songs out since then, but that's my number one Queen's Reich song.
What a choice of the song, man. Brilliant choice. Obviously, it's brilliant because I had it as well. Okay, mate. I'm going with I Surrender, Rainbow from the Difficult to Cure album. That could be my favourite Rainbow song ever. I just love it. I know that's a song, man, that I've heard since I was a little kid. You know, 11 years old, and that never gets tired. I never get tired of that song, man. It's just Jolene Turner. Oh, what an amazing voice. So strong, so soulful, so catchy, that song. I mean, my favourite part of it is actually the verses. You know, the verses. He's just powering it out, man. It's a great song. I love it. Don't know if you heard the Ronnie Romero version. I weren't too keen on that. Just didn't have any power in it. Well, nothing to do with him. Just like the production, the power, there's nothing in it, but you know, great song, man. I Surrender.
Yeah, I love Rainbow. I wish the current lineup would actually do some new material. Romero does quite well on some of the old stuff. Stargazer, for instance, I think he does a pretty good job of. But some of it just doesn't suit his voice. I don't think he doesn't have that bluesy voice like Turner had.
No.
But yeah, I'd love to see him do some new music, see what they would come up with. But yeah, I agree. That's great.
And a lot of singles them days were so strong, when they, from most bands, their singles were their strongest songs. Yeah, that definitely was one of the strongest songs I've ever, if not my favourite song.
For sure.
Great, man. Okay.
All right. Next, I'm going to go from the Kiss Revenge album, Unholy.
Oh, I like that song, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Heavy.
Got to be one of the heaviest Kiss songs. They call this Revenge because it was kind of their revenge against themselves, actually. They fully admit that they got immersed into that 80s glam metal, especially with the two previous albums, Crazy Nights and then Hot in the Shade. They followed the trends that were popular at the time, and they kind of just became another hair band, even though there was some good stuff on those albums. They were very, very commercial, very polished, very poppy sounding. And by 92, when this album came out, grunge was coming around. That may have partly influenced the sound change, but they were looking to go more in a heavier direction, more stripped down sound. And Unholy is, like I said, just one of the heaviest, one of the most evil sounding. That video they did, Gene rolling his eyes back in his head. I mean, this was the closest you got to the Demon out of makeup.
Yeah. It's a great song, man. Have you had any bad tracks yet, have you?
No, not yet. Can
I just add one then to your good one?
Certain.
Crazy, Crazy Nights.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. I just can't get along with that one.
Yeah. Too poppy and They should have started that album off with something with a little more edge to it. I agree. Yeah.
If you, by the way, if I mention a band and I haven't got a bad one, make sure you get in with that.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, great choice though, mate. I love that song actually. Unholy, it's a great choice. Okay, so I'm going for Neon Nights.
Yeah.
Don't know what to say. Really rocking, isn't it? It's like, again, this is like probably a middle finger to Ozzy, although Ozzy done quite well as well on his solo career, but this was like something completely different, wasn't it, for Sabbath? Just mental, just like the totally different band. And obviously Ronnie Dio, man, you know, just can't mistake. He's got to be my favourite vocalist of all time. He must be, if I actually sat down and thought about it. But Neon Nights, man, great song.
Yeah, I knew you were going to do that one, so I kind of held back on that one. But like I said when we did that Heaven and Hell review, what a way to kick the door wide open and make a statement with that new lineup. I mean, the previous album they'd done with Ozzy, Never Say Die, was very disjointed. And it was a band really on its last legs, but Ronnie breathed so much life into that band. And that song just propelled them to a whole nother level. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sticking with Ronnie, I'm going to pull one from his solo years. Killing the Dragon, the title track.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Love that song. When I got to see Dio in 2002, I think it was, they opened with that track, and they had that dragon backdrop behind them. Doug Aldrich was on guitar, and man, they killed it. Love that song. That's a great way to kick that album off.
Yeah, it's a great one, man. I love that song. I think it's the strongest one on the song on the album for me as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I know mine have been a bit obvious, and this is very obvious. Separate Ways.
Okay.
Journey. Oh, man. Possibly, well, he's actually my favourite track from Journey as well. But man, it's just epic, isn't it? Everything about that song. He's just amazing. Steve Perry's voice, Neil Sean's guitar. The video was even more epic.
Yeah. My wife loves that video.
Air guitar, man. You can't get better than that. But man, I just love it. Separate Ways. We had a top 10, I think, with Darren and I had a top 10 Journey songs, and we both chose that one. Just amazing. Just amazing. Just listen to Steve Perry. Obviously, I'll talk about singers making songs better than what they actually are. That's a perfect song with a perfect singer. You know, the song is just amazing. Everything about it. You know, the keys running through it. Just, brilliant song. Okay.
Yeah, they took it up. They kicked it up a notch on that whole album. Separate Ways. I'm not going to call it metal, but it was bordering on that hard rock.
Yeah. I mean, they did have a couple of songs on there. You're right. There's another song on there.
Edge of the Blade.
Yeah, that's probably one of the heaviest songs they've ever done. You know, probably apart from that last album they did was quite heavy. Yeah. But apart from that was brilliant. Okay then, mate. Back to you.
I'm going very obvious here. I know you're going to have. Actually, I'm going to pull two out here at the same time. I'll just go ahead and get them out of the way. Striper, To Hell with the Devil, and Yahweh from Fallen. To Hell with the Devil actually starts off with Abyss, which is a little atmospheric instrumental that is the lead in to the title track, To Hell with the Devil.
Yeah. But even that little bit at the beginning was quite perfect, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's just
perfect way to start that album.
Yeah.
Gives you kind of a creepy lead up to that title track kicking in. And I think I mentioned before, when I saw Striper in '87, I saw them twice. They opened with To Hell with the Devil both nights, and they start off playing Abyss. You're standing there in the darkness and you hear a bass playing and you just start getting chills, and then all of a sudden the curtain drops and they just launch into the hell of the devil. And just such a heavy song. Not much more I can say about it than we've already said. And then Yahweh, again, my all-time favorite Striper song. Just absolute masterpiece. There is no better way to open an album than Yahweh.
I've already crossed them off my list, mate. That's all right.
Sorry.
But what I have got, unbelievably, and I feel really guilty about this, because if Michael Sweet watches this, I know he comes very defensive about anything you say. But there's one song that I don't like, which started off an album, and that's Eclipse of the Sun.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Don't like the punky riffing.
Yeah.
You know, I know it was all part, probably a little bit around. There's a lot of punk music around at the time. Punky sort of bands, poppy, punky bands around. But
Green Day and Offspring and
I could have just done without that track altogether. You know, I think it's a great album, by the way, Murder by Pride. But Eclipse of the Sun, not for me. Anyway, there you go. Guilt all over me now. Okay. My next one, mate, is Let It Go, Def Leppard. Hot and Dry album. Oh, man, it's just an amazing track. Really AC/DC-esque rocking track. Did you have that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you looked a bit disappointed. Obviously, they really hit their stride on that album, you know. On Through the Night was it all right. But, man, High and Dry and Pyromania as well. Them two albums. Let It Go is an amazing track. An actual single. Don't sound like a single, but it was.
Yeah, I kind of felt like you were going to pick that one.
Yeah.
I will throw out what I consider a bad one, though, off of Adrenalize. And it was a pretty big hit for them, but Let's Get Rocked.
Yeah.
Just didn't do anything for me. They really started to lose me on this album. Those first four albums were brilliant, but by the time they got into Adrenalize, they started turning more pop oriented with a stereo.
Yeah.
And that album was just so big. I think they just said, okay, let's take it to another notch. But Adrenalize did not do a whole lot for me. And that song, they still play it live. I mean, they played it when I saw them a couple of years ago, and the crowd loves it. I just never cared for that song.
No, I'm with you on that one, mate. The video fucking wound me up. I didn't like the video. Yeah. I mean, it's like a bad Dire Straits video, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shit. Anyway, yeah, good choice though, mate. Okay, well, I'm going a bit more melodic, I suppose, but this is probably my favourite song by this band, and it opens up the debut album from Sunstorm with Jolene Turner, and that's Keep Tonight. Man, it's just a rocking song, but so melodic. And I just think I was really impressed because obviously Jolene Turner in 2006 when it came out weren't young, was he? You know, I don't know how old he is now. He must be about 70.
Gotta be pushing it, yeah.
So, you know, to hear him sing on this album in total, but especially Keep Tonight, it's like he's really stretching his voice, but with strength. It's just amazing. I love Keep Tonight, man. It's such an energetic song. It's absolutely brilliant. You heard that one, mate, Sunstorm?
I really need to, I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I'd even heard of them until you started talking about them. And I hear you and Darren talking about them.
The first album, first and second one for me.
Okay.
Especially the first. A lot of ballads on there. There's a lot of ballads, but, you know.
I need to delve into that because I do love Jolene Turner, and I really like Ronnie Romero, so I'm going to buy the new one. So I'll probably go back and revisit the history, but yeah.
Just to go off track, did you like the new Sunstorm song? I loved it, man.
One of the singles or the first video released. Yeah, I did.
I mean, I thought it was great, but I'm trying to forget that it's Sunstorm and get that out of my head because it's not. When you hear the Sunstorm albums, when you hear them first couple, you'll realise, you know, the difference. But as standalone tracks, them two tracks so far, I really like them. You know, I think they're great. A lot of people were having a right go, but it ain't right. You ain't right. There you go. Okay, mate.
I'm going to go to Van Halen or Van Hagar, whatever you want to call them. Pound Cake from Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. My favorite Van Halen song. I know you're the Rolf guy. Yeah, I absolutely love that one. Great way to kick off an album. And a great video for it also. I appreciate Van Halen. And we just talk about Sunstorm, didn't we? They were a different band with Sammy Hagar, weren't they? Yeah. They were just a different band. And you either liked one or the other, most people. Right. Some people love it all, but most people like one or the other. Okay then, mate. My next one. Oh, I think you might have this one. Or you definitely might have held back because of me. Unchain the Night. Off Under Lock and Key, obviously. But yeah, there you go. Right there.
Yeah. You had that one, I take it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Would it be fair to say you can talk about another one if you want? Because I feel so bad. I've got Under Lock and Key off of Unchain the Night off Under Lock and Key, obviously. I don't know why. I keep thinking that album, I get it mixed up. I sometimes call the album Unchain the Night. Still be a good album title, though, wouldn't it?
It's such a strong song. I mean, yeah, that could have been the title of the album. Yeah, for sure.
But, man, that's just, I mean, we both voted that, didn't we, without knowing the #1 doc and track of all time. Yep. So you can talk about what I think you want to talk about the next one.
Yeah, you read my mind. Kiss of Death. Oh. Right up there with Unchained Tonight. Just when I rank my Dawkins songs, I had a hard time ranking those two. And they're almost interchangeable. So yeah, I love both of those, and just fabulous ways to open up that album or those albums.
Excellent, mate. Absolutely brilliant. So I had both of them on my list. I knew you would have either both or one or.
And a bad one I'll throw out from them, from Dysfunctional, Inside Looking Out. Just not a. They had been gone for 8 years at that point when they came out with that album.
Yeah.
And I think they should have made a statement with the opening track. If they'd opened up with Too High to Fly or Shadow of Life, one of those heavier, pedal to the metal songs, I think it either one of those would have been a much better opener than what they chose. That song just kind of fell flat with me and didn't really go anywhere.
That's a good choice, mate. I don't know. I'm lost track now. I don't know if it's your turn or my turn.
It's yours.
Okay. Right, mate. I'm going for, and you could have this one as well, because we've spoken about this one. Iced Earth, Plagues of Babylon. Yeah. Oh, man, just what a build-up for a song. What an amazing intro to a song that is. I mean, it's so heavy. And you know what the funny thing about this song as well? It's not fast. In fact, it's the opposite. It's almost, look at that. It's almost slow to medium paced. But the build-up, oh man, it's just one of the best intros to an album I've ever heard in my life. Absolutely amazing. So heavy, and it never gets old, that one. I mean, I could listen to that a million times, that song.
Yeah. Amazing.
Okay.
All right. While we're talking about them, I'll throw out another one we talked about before. Burning Times.
Oh, yeah.
That is the first Iced Earth song I ever heard. The first album I bought was the live album, Live in Athens, and that is the song that kicked off that live album. And as soon as I heard that, I said, "Oh yeah, this is a band I can get into." 30 seconds into it, I knew I had made the right choice by buying that one. Great band, just such a shame that they're probably done.
Yeah, I know, man. It's so disappointing, but just from a selfish point of view, some people stand up for their rights, don't they? And because they believe what's right, I can understand that. But from a selfish point of view, I want more albums, you know what I mean? But
I wish he'd have stayed home that day because I want some more Iced Earth. But
yeah, exactly.
Unless he recruits a new group of singers or group of musicians, which he can clearly do because he is Iced Earth. Just like David Coverdale is White Snake, but anyway, if he can get his stuff together and get back out there one day, I hope we'll see some new Iced Earth in some form.
Definitely, mate. Totally agree there. Okay, I think it's me. My next one, mate. Thin Lizzy, Angel of Death, from the Renegade album in 1981, man. So I know we don't talk about Thin Lizzy that much on this channel, but they've done some, and a lot of that for me is with most of their albums, apart from the last one they did, Thunder and Lightning, obviously with Phil Lynott. A lot of their albums for me are hit and miss all the way through. Like, you know, I get a lot of tracks that I love. So Thin Lizzy have never been like, if I had to name my top 10 bands, they wouldn't be in the top 10. Okay. But they've done some tracks that are just amazing. Angel of Death is probably my favourite track, maybe, from them. Epic, you know, and Phil Lynott really on form, you know. An acquired taste, I suppose, Thin Lizzy, for some people. But I've probably got, there's probably about 10, 15, 20 tracks that are just amazing. And this is one of them. From their later career, I think this was their second to last album, Phil Lynott, I think. So, Angel of Death, mate.
They have a cult following over here. I mean, they have a rabid fan base. But I got to be honest, I know about 3 songs. I know Jailbreak, I know Boys Are Back in Town, I know Whiskey in the Jar.
The album for you, because you're a Sykesy, you like a bit of John Sykes, so I think you probably get Thunder and Lightning, you'd love it. That's my favourite album. That is easily my favourite album from start to finish. It's just amazing. So there you go. Try that one, mate. Thunder and Lightning.
I'll take it. Yeah, they've never, obviously they're bigger on your side of the pond than they are here, but they do have a fanatical fan base.
I can understand that.
Absolutely fanatical about it.
Okay then, mate.
All right, I'm going to throw in a couple of obvious ones here. Keep repeating myself, going back to the debut Black Sabbath album.
I scrapped that off my list to let you know because I knew.
Yeah, I can't quit talking about this album and the song Black Sabbath.
Yeah,
I sound like a broken record, but that is the birth of heavy metal. Just absolute perfect way to start the album and start a genre. I don't know if they had any idea what they were doing when they released this first album. I mean, honestly, I don't think they had any notion that they were going to go down in history as creating what they created. But
it could have easily gone the other way, couldn't it? People could have just dismissed it and say, "What a load of rubbish."
I know, you know, hell, I was 1 year old and you were 0, I guess, when that album came out. So obviously, when it first came out, I wasn't around enough to know anything about it until much later in my life. But from what I hear, you know, when it first came out, people either loved it or they were absolutely disgusted by it.
I'll tell you what, though, when I was a kid, and I used to be like, obviously watching horror films from a very young age, and sometimes I found it hard to watch a horror film and then walk up the stairs, you know, on my own. Yeah. I think that Black Sabbath song would have done the same thing. I don't think I could walk up the stairs after listening to that. Brilliant. Okay then, mate. I'm going a bit more, I suppose a little bit more obscure now. A band called Steelheart.
Okay.
So they brought out some quite really good albums like in the 80s, but in the 1992 they brought out probably my favourite album, Tangled in Rains, and a song called Loaded Mother. And it's just mad. Have you heard it? You must have heard of Steelheart, maybe not listened to them that much.
Yeah, I don't own any of their stuff, but I'm familiar with them. Yeah.
That one is so heavy, man. I mean, I don't even want to pronounce the guy's name because it's just, I muck it up every time, but he's got an amazing voice. He can like hit some heights that are just, he's one of these singers that's known to have so many octaves or something that it's just unbelievable, you know. Loaded Mother, man, it's just so heavy, and the guitaring, everything about it is just amazing. Obviously, a bad time, 1992. Didn't do much, I don't think, as an album itself, but great song. Loaded Mother's a brilliant start to an album. There you go, mate.
All right. I'm going to stick with Sabbath. Headless Cross.
Yeah.
The title track, Headless Cross. It starts off with a little atmospheric, kind of like Abyss in the Hell level. Starts off does he approve?
Well, he was just hoping because his name's Dio. He's just, I think he's annoyed because it's not Turn Up the Night or something.
Anyway, it starts off with a little instrumental keyboard piece called The Gates of Hell.
Yeah.
And then it leads into that incredible Cozy Powell opening drum roll on Headless Cross. And this is the first album that I know Tony Martin sang on The Eternal Idol, but that album was written before he got there. He didn't have any input in that music at all. This album was his first official writing session with Black Sabbath.
And done quite well on MTV as well, which is a bit of a surprise for Sabbath. It's good. Yeah, it's good time period for the band. Yeah.
Played fair amount on the Headbangers Ball back in the day. But yeah, what a great way to kick that one off. And then I'll throw out a bad one from Forbidden.
Oh yeah. What were they thinking? It's one of them. What the fuck were they thinking moments?
The Illusion of Power. Sabbath is one of, if not my all-time favorite band.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, if this was the first song I heard from them, I would have never gotten into it.
Yeah. The thing is, it had that doomy sound, didn't it? But then what they did with the track, especially like halfway through at the whatever, oh my god.
Yeah, just having Ice-T do his little rap in the middle of it, and even the vocal style that Tony had in that song, he was not utilizing his gift. It was almost like a spoken word kind of song.
Almost like a rap, a classic rap.
Musically, it had potential, but it just fell flat. Terrible way to start the album. I mean, it wasn't a great album anyway. My least favorite of the Tony Martin albums for sure. But if they'd have started off with Get a Grip or something with a little more bounce to it, anything would have been a better starter than that song.
Yeah, I agree there, mate. Not good. Right, well, the next one, I don't know. I was expecting you to choose this. You still might have it, but you've already mentioned the band, and it's probably my favourite song, but definitely not my favourite album, and that's Creatures of the Night, Kiss. Oh, man, what a great track. Oh, man. I think it's my favourite Kiss track ever, and you know what? I was more into, I spoke about to this before, I was into their non-makeup stage, probably because of my age and as well. I wasn't into a lot of the 70s and stuff like that. And but this track is just amazing, man. This could have been on Lick It Up. They was getting towards, obviously it weren't far off getting to that stage. But did this have Vinnie Vincent on it?
They had several guitarists that actually played on that album. Vinnie was one of them. I don't think anybody knows for sure exactly who played what.
No.
Because they used, even though the original cover had Ace on the cover, I don't think Ace played at all. He might have had a very slight involvement, but they had him on the cover. But for the most part, he didn't play on the album. Vinnie was one of the players, and they had several other session players that they attributed to Dave Fraley, but he was gone by that point.
I mean, man, in them verses, man, in that song.
Yeah.
When Paul Stanley's singing it, it's just like, wow, man, that's amazing song.
That album was a lot like when they did Revenge. The album before Creatures of the Night was The Elder.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Not good.
The concept album. And it had a couple of highlights, but for the most part, that alienated their entire fan base. So when they came back with Creatures of the Night, they were really trying to make a statement, reestablish, themselves as a hard rock band, get back to doing what they should have been doing all along. And yeah, you're right. That was a great way to.
I love that song, man.
Open that album.
Love that song. Okay, you're up.
All right, this is a very recent one. Talked about them a while back, well, in our other video about great debuts. The Demons and Wizards from the third album that they just came out with. Opening track's called Diabolic, and it is so heavy. It is by far the best song on the album. Again, I mourn the loss of Iced Earth and Demons and Wizards. John Schaefer's playing is just, I can't even put words to it. It's just astounding. And it's just very sad that both of those bands now are probably done. But there's a great video for this song, Diabolic.
Mate, you're right there. It is such a shame, but well, it's not in our hands now, is it? Hopefully something will come good of it. But okay then, mate, I'm going. One of the most amazing, heaviest tracks, I think, ever. And that's Monkey Business.
Oh, yeah.
Skid Row, off A Slave to the Grind. Man, just such a powerful song. Yeah. So heavy, man. It's just, and like when you hear Sebastian Bach or Bach, whatever his name is on this album in general. I mean, I like the debut album, but it was nothing like this.
I agree.
Oh, man. And like that song is just mental. It's just relentless. It's heavy, so much energy. Man, it's probably, as well up there with one of my favourite songs from them. It's a great opening track. What a better way. I can't think of a better opening track on that album. You couldn't have chose a better track to start with.
Yeah.
Even though I think there's better tracks.
Yeah.
But that suited it just down to the ground. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they definitely got heavier on that album.
Oh, yeah.
The first album was, I agree, the first album was very good. There was some good stuff on it, but they turned it up a notch with that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Right. Okay.
All right. I'm going to go to Journey this time from the Trial by Fire album, nice. Message of Love. This is my favorite Journey song, even though it's from the last Steve Perry album. Came out in 96, I think it was.
Yeah.
That song just, again, it's fairly heavy for Journey. Not quite metal, but bordering on hard rock. Perry, unfortunately, never got to tour on that album, so never performed it live. But when I saw him in 2001 with Steve Algeri on the Arrival tour, they played that song. And I think they might have even opened the show with it. And he did it justice. He gave it his all, and I'm glad I finally got to hear it performed live. I love